Hi, I'm Wayward, and this is Grey Goo, looking at a 1 versus 1 today between these two players. At the top right, as the blue Shroud, is Zaisarus, and at the bottom left, as our very bright red beta, Tommygun. The map, of course, is World Tree on the QuickScript mod. Just as a reminder, there's a friendly and welcoming Grey Goo community for anyone interested in playing or returning to it. There's a Discord server linked in the description. We'd be glad to have you come back and enjoy the game with us. And our very own Xset has created this QuickScript mod that gets the game started a lot faster. There's map makers, as you can see here with this new map. And it's a good time. Lots of tournaments, lots of banter on Discord, and yeah, so it's friendly and welcoming. Anyway, let's take a quick look at what's going on instead of just kind of panning around talking about things that aren't the game. So let's see, Zaisarus, a fairly standard opening, got a couple of extractors down and is now moving to advance. Looks like there's 4 or 5 at the moment. A little bit of harass from Tommygun here. It's like a 6th advent. There's a lot of advents. Tommygun, meanwhile, has some... Oh, those are factories. A proxy factory coming down from Tommygun in this little hidden area here at the center of the map. I should just go ahead and bring up the structures tab. So Tommygun being super aggressive, relying on that instead of economy, forcing the extractor to run. Got a lot of units out and just more coming. Little dance there as he tries to pick away at that advent, just like he was whittling away at that extractor a moment ago. Finally getting that little... Oh, that's a mimic. I'm sorry. Mimic getting involved in the combat as well. As well as a couple of clashers. So I think Zaisarus is going to be able to hold this okay. We do have more stalkers coming in. Ironically, I almost think it would have been better if Tommygun had just gone full commando. That's more units, more bulk, more overall DPS. Now, I guess if Zaisarus had gone for Howlers, the AoE, that might have put a bit of a damper on all commando play. But there's just not enough stalkers right now. And even with these more, these 4 additional stalkers coming out, so Tommygun may be a little overly aggressive, ironically. Over-committing with that rush before he had enough to do any real damage, and now Zaisarus getting a 4th extractor up. So definitely with the economy advantage, and also the numbers advantage, and that Howler coming out. We got a couple of Howlers there for that AoE, and it's a very powerful AoE unit in the early game. Actually, it's consistently useful. Zaisarus trying to push out with a little scouting party of his own, seeing what Tommygun is up to. Tommygun, of course, spotting that, and I was going to say continuing to put on some pressure, but I guess not. Let's take a quick look down here. Just more stalkers at the moment. These clashers not going to be able to do much, but are going to be able to get a good scout in for Zaisarus. I don't know if those were misrallied or something. That's a bit of a loss there for our beta player. Chasing another extractor away from its resources. This is some really good harassment by Tommygun. Now he's got to pull back and not lose this army. Yeah, there's no real point in losing all these units to Zaisarus. That's just decreasing your army size and letting Zaisarus build up more. There's already a pretty substantial advantage now. Zaisarus has a ton of resources and units that Tommygun doesn't have. In fact, Zaisarus actually over here, I was wrong apparently about these clashers. Almost managed to destroy that refinery, I guess because Tommygun is distracted. So yeah, Tommygun has a bit of catch-up to do at the moment. Zaisarus researching channeled buildup, which is the Howler AoE upgrade, very potent on an already somewhat potent unit. Okay, so the Shrouds oh my goodness. Let's try that again, folks. The Shrouds upgrade mechanic is a structure called the amplifier that they can put in between. Actually, there's one right there that they can put in between other structures. When they add the amplifier, it gives them extra units that they can produce per advent and unlocks higher tier units. So they put a couple of these in between some advents and upgrades those specific advents, but it's an upgrade that can be lost because that if the amplifier is killed, then all of the upgraded structures nearby lose their bonus. Wow, that was a big flub a second ago, and I still am embarrassed by that. Pretty big army out for Zaisarus at this point. Still all tier 1, but with Howlers being a very potent AoE unit and Clashers being solid HP and DPS, it's non-trivial, especially since Tommygun is behind in the unit count. Taking a quick look, Tommygun really working to catch up there in terms of his refinery. Although Zaisarus continuing to push out and produce additional extractors. It is now 7-5, so we've kind of got a macro match going on at this point. Unit number starting to even up a little bit. Some bad engages on Zaisarus' part will lose him his numbers advantage, just like we see here. But the Shroud economy can really take off if the beta does not harass them. I've seen crazy Shroud matches where they get like just a ton of extractors, like a ridiculous number. So we'll have to see what happens here. I think the Shroud upgrade, the Howler upgrade is not quite finished. No, it's done now. So we see the effects of that channeled upgrade there. Tommygun's still, again, behind in terms of income. Also still behind in terms of unit count. Actually, substantially at this point. This is a potentially game-ending push here. Just a lot of units, a lot of DPS, a lot of AoE, a lot of hit points, and Tommygun's reaction so far has not been that coordinated. Things are not quite over yet, but this is a really nasty push. Let's see. It looks like Tommygun is counter-pushing. Managed to kill 2 extractors so far, actually, while Zaisarus is focused up here. So we've got some combat on both sides of the map. Tommygun for sure losing that one handily, and not quite out of the woods over here yet. No buildings lost so far that I can see. One of those extractors is being replaced. There's a damaged one there. And possibly another one coming out somewhere. Somehow this army manages to get mostly cleaned up. All of the Clashers die. There's just a couple of Howlers left. Somebody's got to go to tier 2 at some point. This is a very long tier 1. Let's see. We've got a stealth attachment here. Quick look. Looks like we have hailstorms coming out, and from our Shroud player we have Mox. Let's take a look. Yep, we have the Zenith upgrade, actually 2 Zenith with Mox coming out. The Mock, I believe, is a suicide unit. Crashes into enemies and deals AoE damage, so we've got more AoE coming out from both players. The Mock is, it's very dangerous if left uncontested. I've seen it used to great effect against the goo. I'm not sure I've seen a Mock used like this yet in a beta match, so interesting to see what ends up happening with Tommygun. So he does not manage to take out those hailstorms, but this tremendous amount of AoE from the Howlers is nothing to sneeze at. AoE is fairly rare in Grey Goo, and such it's used, it's quite potent when it comes out. Not many things hit a bunch of units at once, and as you can see, it is pretty effective. More mocks out flying around. The only real issue with the mock is you've only got the one shot with it. So they can be misused fairly easily, mistargeted. It's definitely a thing. Honestly, with this sort of population disparity, I would think that Zaisarus would basically just be able to win, hands down. And it is a problem that he's holding so many units back. He's got an army over here that he could be doing things with that he's not. Really, there's just enough units out here for Zaisarus to just win, and I'm not sure why he's not choosing to just do that. Hub potentially going down here. Zaisarus not really committing to that kill. Very strange. I think he's trying to be fancy with the micro. It just seems like it's inefficient. Mocks, interestingly enough, not being used right now. Let's see. We do have an air attachment, so it looks like potentially Tommygun could go air or at least anti-air with this large factory. The Mock's getting good vision, but not really being used to attack. There we go. Mock's taking out another hailstorm. Let's take a look at our units tab. It looks like our Zaisarus is going Crucibles. That's their tier 2 units production structure. We've got some Fugues out, as well as a Coda, at least on the way. So it's kind of a full high-tech attack here from our Shroud player. Also, the Shriek, which is basically a Void Ray, to the pretty much the end of their tech tree. But yeah, it uses ramping damage, kind of like the Void Ray. I think the Ray splits at some point. Units tab. I did see that. I did not comment on it yet. The stealth sniper upgrade for the Stalker has been researched. They are stealthed while out of combat, and their weapon changes to a sniper gun. More economic harassment going on. Several extractors getting killed. There's those Shrieks. Nice! And the Fugues coming out as well. I believe the Fugues effect is that it tags an enemy unit, and if it dies while under that effect, it produces a temporary unit. There we have the Cloudburst AA for the air, and getting some infrastructure damage on Zaisarus. Tommygun is doing that. I am really just being so eloquent tonight. Getting my words out of order and just kind of drastically mispronouncing everything. That's the wayward quality you come here for, folks. All couple hundred of you that will see this. But no, I do appreciate everyone who watches my videos. Definitely very, very thankful, and it's welcome to have anyone who wants to watch my videos. I'm welcome to have them. So you see, these are the codas that are produced when the Fugue, and a unit tagged by a Fugue dies. So it seems at this point that Zaisarus is kind of squandering his once overwhelming population advantage. a bit of a problem. So the Shroud, they have tremendous DPS, but only mediocre health. They're kind of like a glass cannon faction, and I have seen many times where the Shroud will get ahead like this and throw away a couple of armies, trade very poorly when they shouldn't have to, and it really hurts them. And you can very easily lose by throwing armies away like that. So we do have a lot of air units over here. We do have a nice big army, actually, but he's got to be careful. Now, with twice the army size of his opponent, we actually have some torrents out or being produced. That's pretty exciting. The torrent is a transport. What it does is you load the units inside the torrent, and it shoots them out, and the unit, when it leaves the torrent, actually deals damage around itself when it lands. So it's a really cool transport unit, actually, and I don't see them very often, and I'm very excited by this Shroud airplay. Meanwhile, Tommygun is... Oh, and we also have a bunch of mimics out. I want to see what happens with this. That's kind of hilarious, actually. I'm not sure why they're being used, but I am interested to see if anything can be done with them. So this is a large but fairly damaged army. It looks like Zaisarus is coming out of this on top, but there's the mimics. It's kind of funny. The stalkers are not getting down. There we go. They actually are getting engaged a little bit. Another engagement. The mimics drop their stealth. I think the cloudburst might know. I thought it might be a detector, but it looks like not. Yeah, so this stalemate is kind of interesting. It feels like Zaisarus is really overly cautious here, not doing himself any favors with this failure to commit. Both players have kind of dropped the idea of harassment at this point, which I think is a bit of a missed opportunity. Both factions have some fairly decent harassment options. There's the turrets, by the way. Pretty cool to see them. But yeah, both factions have some decent harassment options, and it's very weird to me that neither one is trying to take advantage of that at this point. Cloudburst's actually not doing as well as you would think. And some misplaced cloudbursts kind of all die to ground units, which is a bit of an oversight. Really bad loss here from Tommygun for his forces. He lost a significant amount of army without doing really any damage to Zaisarus. But it kills me that Zaisarus is letting Tommygun just sit and rebuild while Zaisarus has been sitting on a maxed out army pretty much, for the last couple minutes, probably. So Zaisarus seems to have, let's take a quick look at the income. Harvested a tremendous amount of resources over what Tommygun is doing. Has a much larger army. Actually more tech, I don't know if you saw, and is not ahead, actually, on economy, which is probably a fault of Zaisarus. He should be getting out there and getting more extractors. There's really no reason not to at this point. He does have plenty of income coming in, but why not if you're already this far ahead? But yeah, my big complaint right now is that Zaisarus' army is twice the size of Tommygun's, and he's got a tech advantage, he's got the numbers advantage, he's got enough resources actually to come in and crush Tommygun pretty much right out, and he has failed to do so numerous times now. Like, he's got 2 maxed out armies and is now finally pushing in with them, and this is such like a meme It's kind of hilarious. Coming in with a bunch of mimics as Cloudburst. But yeah, with all of this, I don't see what's keeping Tommygun in the game besides Zaisarus' hesitance and not pushing in, not coming in to do damage, not coming in to get the killing blow. Time and again, we've seen Zaisarus get into Tommygun's base and just fail to commit. And this is a problem. Like, he's really had Tommygun on the ropes this entire match. No offense, Tommygun. I think you're phenomenal, but this, I don't understand this right now. So we're at a bit of a stalemate. Tommygun is pushing out to try to harass again. But yeah, with this sort of army disparity, it's very weird to see Tommygun kind of trying to manage to hold on. Then Zaisarus kind of sit back and not kind of push in for the win. Those sniper shots are something else, man. Zaisarus just kind of letting some of these expensive torrents just explode to a single cloudburst. A counter push that I kind of missed over here has a bunch of good lord, Klaxons in. Oh, it was a Klaxon drop. We've got the torrent over here. Yeah, pick the Klaxon back up. Nicely done. Managed to take out a small hub, it looks like. Completely missed that. We also have some stealth sniper stalkers up here, continuing to be a bit of a pest. Manages to kill a lot of extractors. This could be really bad for Zaisarus. Tommygun has taken a little bit of economic damage as well, but Zaisarus went down from 7 extractors to 4. Now just started building a 5th one. Tommygun, I believe, at one point had 8 refineries, but lost a couple of them and is now down to 6. But yeah, this is a weird match. This is like, this should tell you as the player. This should be clear evidence of why, like, you know you're ahead. You feel like you're probably ahead. Go in and try to do some damage. Like, know when to pull back if you need to, but this goes beyond caution. This is Zaisarus really misreading the game state, I feel like. He's way ahead, and he's just really sitting back and letting these little armies take a chunk out of him and cause him to be fearful. Oh, this reminds me to take a look at the upgrades. It looks like he's got the networked armor upgrade here. See this little prism shield around the Klaxons. What that means is basically each Klaxon that's near another Klaxon gains armor. And the Shroud core acts as an amplifier. That's a nice upgrade. Mimic gains stealth detection, and then there's the networked armor. Lose their charge, but gain stacking armor when near other Klaxons. Looks like we have a Shriek attack. Taking out some economy. Nicely done. And the Shriek's pulling back. See, this is what Zaisarus should have been doing the whole time. He's got the numbers, he's got the economy. He needs to just take the fight to Tommygun, which is what he's doing now. Tommygun doesn't have enough army to defend on all fronts at the same time, and finally Zaisarus is kind of doing something about that. Let's take a quick look at... Yeah, see, this is what we need to see here from the Shroud. 9 extractors to 4 refineries. This is looking pretty grim for our beta player, but a really bad engage in the middle seems to have cost Zaisarus a tremendous amount of army. There's still this force down here that could spell doom for our beta player. Little Stratus out to keep tabs on what the Shroud are doing. But this could be really bad for Tommygun. This uncontested harassment seems to have crippled Tommygun's economy. Cloudbursts waiting in the trees. This time those Shrieks are not going to be so lucky a second time. That army is getting cleaned up. Things have remarkably evened up for the players, which is really bad for our Shroud player because he has every right to just expect to be ahead. There were several moments when he could have just won this game, and I think watching this, Zaisarus may be very sad to see all of the points where Tommygun had basically nothing. And he could have won. See, this torrent not being useful could be loaded up with Klaxons and then basically just attack with them. Yet again, Zaisarus is maxed out. His economy is actually much larger. Still more extractors. Tommygun not really being able to catch up there in terms of income. We have the popular platform stability upgrade finished for Tommygun that allows the hailstorms to fire while moving. That happens a lot. That is done a lot in this game to fairly great effect. But yeah, I think at this point, if Zaisarus loses, he's just going to have to be mad at himself. Because he's had so many opportunities to pull this out and get the win. There we go. Another torrent drop with Klaxons, this time without charge, but with the network armor. Not particularly useful, just the one torrent is not enough to get the win there. Poor Tommygun has been on the back foot for like 3/4 of this match. Zaisarus trying to push in again with another force. You know, I think the big equalizer that maybe I haven't been counting on as much is the hailstorm. That AoE on these light units is pretty brutal. Oh no, and then those pox go in and just kill a ton of hailstorms, which is not great for our beta player. Looks like Tommygun's army is getting cleaned up. I think the right mix of units has finally been found for Zaisarus. Now the unit's getting a little confused, attacking base structures instead of army. Always a bit of a problem. But at this point, I don't think Tommygun has the ability to produce more units. He's just out of income. He's trying to build another refinery here, but look at the number of resources that our Shroud player has. He's almost maxed out. So he's maxed out on the unit numbers. He's maxed out on his income right now. He has absolutely no worries about continuing to fight Tommygun. I think this is probably where we give our final salute. We press F to pay respects to Tommygun. This is kind of a manor extractor right there, right in Tommygun's base. That's gotta kind of be the writing on the wall, right? Once your opponent has so many extractors that he's building them in your base, that's gotta tell you something. But yeah, I mean, at this point, Zaisarus there's no more resources he can hold, and he's maxed out on army. He's got a lot of tech, all the tech he's gonna ever need or want. It's actually leaving units sitting around his base, which is a bit of a problem. But it doesn't matter because Tommygun has nothing. And there's no real way to bring this back. This sort of unit disparity and economy disparity, it's just not recoverable. So Tommygun has fought valiantly, but I think this is all she wrote for our beta player. So I give you a salute as you go off into the night. Tommygun is continuing to try to preserve what is left of his base and forces, but I really don't see any way to come back from this at all. Zaisarus has had this one for so long. You know, in some ways I actually question posting this video just because it was so obviously one-sided for so long. But I did spend half an hour recording it, so I may just inflict it on you anyway. Thanks. You're welcome. From me. And where else are you going to get this sort of high-level, incisive commentary full of misspeaking and hesitation? That's not something you get just anywhere. Come on, people. Self-deprecating humor is fun, right? But yeah, Tommygun is valiantly trying to make this work out for himself, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to. And as the final seconds of the replay tick down, yeah, this is one of those long, slow defeats that can be very hard to watch in RTS. It's been clear for a long time that Zaisarus had this in the bag, unfortunately. Still, hopefully, a little bit of fun to watch, a little bit of enjoyment to be had in this replay. Sorry, Tommygun. Well played, both players. And Tommygun, GG's out. Whew! It's kind of a long one. Not a lot of Grey Goo matches last this long. And I'm recording this pretty late, and I'll be releasing it tomorrow. So, that's how we do things here at Wayward Strategy. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.